Hey, are you okay? Cheer up. Preds swept Metro Los Angeles on the weekend. I'm fine. I'll be fine. I'm just a little shell shocked right now. Johnny, you know how us in Preds Nation can't stand Chelsea, Dagger, and like the chime that goes off in St. Louis every time they score a goal? Yeah? Well, you know what is arguably just as bad as those two things? The Anaheim Foghorn. The Anaheim Foghorn. Everybody's hands go up, way up, as the Preds defeat, not easily mind you, the Anaheim Ducks in overtime by a score of 5-4 Sunday night in the Honda Center in Anaheim, California. With the help of a 3-point night by Tommy Novak, including the game-winning goal in overtime, the Preds complete a 6-game road trip with a 4-1-1 record, but they certainly don't like making it easy on themselves. There's Preds injury news to start this game because as of late, when is there not? On the one hand, good news, Ryan McDonough, who took another puck to the face, is back. If you saw him play, he obviously had the residual marks to show you what happened by taking the puck to the face in Los Angeles. Thank God he's back. The Preds can't stand to lose anybody on the blue line right now. And bad news is Luke Evangelista, as we all expected might happen, is out for this game. He's day-to-day after that hit that he took in the third period Saturday against the Kings from Matt Roy. Michael McCarron would take the first penalty of the game to give the Ducks their first power play of the game. And impressively, despite the fact that this Anaheim team just went into Calgary and won in regulation on Friday, the Preds would kill it off. And surprisingly, considering the history between the Preds and the Ducks, that would be the Ducks' only power play of this game. Just a little under 8 minutes into the first period, the Preds would earn their first power play of the game. And it would be the Ducks with too many men on the ice, as the Preds would end up going to work. Back half of the too many men on the ice power play, and with just a little over 40 seconds left to go in it, puck comes to Philip Tomasino near the blue line. Through distance, he takes a shot on net with a screen provided by Yakov Trenin. It beats John Gibson. Preds lead early 1-0. Shortly after that, the Preds cranking up the pressure now and picking up from where he left off the energy of playing in his first NHL game on Saturday. Igor Afanasyev has a great chance between the face-off dots to beat Gibson, which he does, but he can't beat the goalpost. But like I said, the Preds really cranking up the pressure now, and with just a little over 6 minutes left to go in the first period, puck is settled down by Tommy Novak in the Duck zone with seemingly nothing but Ducks defenders around him. He gets control of the puck. He finds a shooting lane and lets go a shot on it. It beats John Gibson. Tommy Novak's 11th goal of the season has given the Preds a 2-0 lead. Ducks don't quit though. Preds aren't going to be able to win this game easily. But with 4 1/4 left to go in the first period, shortly after UC Saros had lost his stick but had been able to gain control of it once again, the Ducks have pressure, and Mason McTavish is able to put one past Saros and cut the Preds' lead to 2-1. Ducks with pressure right in the dying seconds of the first period. Preds able to defend that situation and escape any further damage. They have their 2-1 lead after the first. Ducks are out with the early pressure in the second period. An impressive 4 shots on UC Saros before the first minute even has expired into the period. Preds players wake up! With almost a combined 30 shots on goal between both teams in the second period, the Ducks' pressure would continue. With about 2 minutes into the period, Brock begin with a great chance, but Saros is forced to cover up there. And just when you think that the Preds are starting to tilt the ice their way, right after McGinn's chance, for a matter of 2 minutes, nope, the Ducks can snap their fingers just like that. And just before the 5-minute mark, Ducks in the Preds zone again. Vetrano with a shot that Saros can't stop. And this game, a game in Anaheim that the Preds should be dominating, consider where these two teams are in the standings, is now tied at 2. Preds potentially adding to their injury list, as on a follow-through, yeah, it wasn't on purpose, but it sucks just the same. On a follow-through of a shot, an Anaheim player gets Colton Sissons with a high stick, and he's bleeding, and he has to go off. It's like that's the last thing the Preds need is to lose a forward. Good on the Preds for turning it around and getting pressure back. Like I said, they did get a lot of shots in the second period. 9:45 or so left to go in the second period. Fabro to Jankowski, but John Gibson stops that too. We reached the last quarter of the second period. Ducks still getting different times of pressure on UC Saros. About the 4-minute mark, UC Saros is under siege again, but he's able to cover up. 3 minutes and 40 seconds left to go in the middle frame, and Jeremy Liaison and Max Jones exchange words, and it's trial by fire for Liaison, who wasn't here during the glory days of the Ducks and Preds rivalry, but trial by fire as those two get into a scrap, and Liaison holds his own and comes out on the better end of it. Final seconds in the second period finally tick down, and maybe the Preds feel a little lucky not to be worse for the wear considering the last game of the road trip, and this game is tied at 2 after 2. Things start off on the right foot in the third period, I must say, as we see that Colton Sissons has returned to the ice. Thank God we won't be without his services. And the Preds would carry that momentum of getting a guy back on the bench, and just a little under 2 minutes into the third period, Tommy Novak skates the puck down into the Ducks zone, and he drop passes it to Keither Sherwood, who skates the puck down almost to the goal line, just past the goal line, and he waits and he waits and he sees that there's a shooting lane, and he thinks, oh, what the heck? John Gibson's hugging his post, maybe, and he shoots it off of Gibson's back. It's in. The Preds have regained the 3-2 lead in this game. That's Keither Sherwood's first goal since opening night when the Preds played the Sharks in the Czech Republic. People in Southern California are looking for a reliable bank. They should look into that bank shot by Keither Sherwood rather than another bank that was in the news right now, but we're not going to get into that because this is not a financial channel. Ducks are an unrelenting bunch because just over 4 minutes into the period, Jacob Silverberg has a great chance. He beats Saros but can't beat the post, so the Preds maintain a 1-goal lead. Then this is followed up by a 2-on-1 by the Ducks, and Troy Terry keeps it the whole way, but Saros tracks him and denies him. Ducks are coming close to tying this game again with about the halfway mark. Pressure in the Preds zone, right in UC Saros' kitchen. But somehow, out of thin air, he gets his glove on it and keeps it a 1-goal game. Quick action about the 7-minute mark left to go in the third period. Jacob Silverberg tries to draw a tripping penalty, but the refs aren't buying it. And this is followed up by Keither Sherwood almost scoring for the second time in the period, but he can't beat John Gibson. Shortly after, though, the Preds' persistence in that moment of time would pay off, much to the chagrin of Preds Nation, who would have rather tracked it better on Bally Sports because they didn't see it immediately when it went in. Cole Smith sets up Yakov Trenin, who, after he scored, jumps into the glass with joy in enemy territory, and the Preds have regained their 2-goal lead, now up 4-2. And I thought, oh good, maybe the Ducks will finally accept their fate now. Nope, this is a red-hot Ducks team, considering the fact that they're still in the bottom 5 of the league. That just shows how bad they were to start this season, because they do not go away. With just over 2.5 left to go in regulation, they pull John Gibson, and there's pressure in the Preds zone, and Colton White to Saros' right gets him, and the Preds D to bite, thinking that he's going to snap a shot, but he snaps it. He passes it over to Troy Terry, the other side, who has a wide open net. He makes no mistake. It's in the net. The Preds now gripping for dear life. Now they're only ahead 4-3. And you were hoping maybe that would be the one mistake and maybe the Preds would escape danger. Nope, the Ducks pull Gibson once again. Pressure in the Preds zone. Under 30 seconds left to go in regulation. Right in front, Mason McTavish, his second goal of the game, and now this game is tied at 4. Good! 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 I'm thinking in a moment, good. This team is going to blow two-goal leads in Anaheim, and this road trip is going to be all for naught. You're going to lose to freaking Anaheim. I'm calm. I'm calm. I'm calm. Game is tied at 4. We're off to overtime. A rested Ducks team playing against a Preds team, playing the second half of back-to-back, both late games in Metro Los Angeles. What's the worst thing that could happen? Ducks with the first possession of overtime. They get a good chance, but it's stopped by Stars. Then, stay with me here because there's going to be some quick action, and this is going to be over in a matter of less than 80 seconds. In the history of the Nashville Predators franchise playing in 3-on-3 overtime in the regular season, I don't think I've ever seen this many 2-on-1s in quick succession of each other ever. First off, you've got Cam Fowler and Ryan Strome going in on UC Sauce, but they're denied. Then quickly going the other way, Tommy Novak and Matt Duchene have a great 2-on-1 chance, but they're denied by John Gibson. Quickly, right afterwards, this game just keeps flowing. You've got Colton White and Troy Terry, who just tied this game at the end of regulation, in on UC Sauce, but they're denied. And then finally, Philip Tomasino, who receives the puck on a pass from the man who scored earlier in the game. He skates right on in, tries to get Gibson to bite. Gibson does. So you know what? Philip Tomasino gives it right back to the man who gave it to him. It's Tommy Novak who sends the Ducks faithful home heartbroken as he buries it past John Gibson. He says, "I've had enough of this game." Preds walk it off in overtime and win this game 5-4. Well, after a game like that, I'm sure Preds Nation is as happy as I am to be done with this team for the rest of the season, because obviously we're not playing the Ducks if we make the playoffs. Like, yeah, we love beating the Ducks even though they're not a division rival because we have such a history with them in the playoffs. But not like this. This game takes years off your life. Preds sweep the 2-game visit to Metro Los Angeles, and thank God, because you didn't need that egg on your face of losing to Anaheim after such a big win in Los Angeles on Saturday. Now they come home for what you think is a simple 2-game homestand against the likes of Detroit on Tuesday and Chicago on Thursday. Yeah, I don't like to count my chickens before they're hatched, but those should be 2 winnable games, leaving you with 16 games left to go after that. If they do get 4 points out of those 2 games, that will leave the Preds in an interesting situation considering what the standings might be. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Get home safe from California, Preds team and Preds Nation. Let's get ready for Detroit. So that is it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. As always, click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really like it. You can find my social media by clicking on the channel name. Tell all your friends about Redemption. Baptism by Fire, Preds Nation. Playing the likes of Chicago and Anaheim on the road, considering their history with the Preds franchise. And now they get to feel the heat by playing Detroit and Chicago in the Stone.